We've been using strings since Lab 1, but Java gives us some extra methods that can be really useful. You can think of a string sort of like an array of characters.
Remember the char type that holds Unicode values.
So a string has a fixed length. Its positions are numbered starting at 0, and each position holds a char. If you want to get the character that is in a particular position, we use the char_at method. It has one parameter that is the position we're interested in, and it returns the character in that position. Zoomy, can you be the machine?
Yep. This line declares a variable named s that can hold a string and gives it the string silly string is fun. This line is going to print some stuff out. When it asks s char at 0, that method will return the character in the 0th position, which is equal to capital S. S.char at 5 returns the character in position 5, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a blank. S.char at 4 will return the character y that is in position 4. So the output will be capital S space y.
Strings give us ways to pull out parts of a string. We do this with the substring method, and there are two ways we can do it. If you give the substring method only one argument, it will return everything from that position to the end of the string. So in this example, position 13 of S is this I. So substring 13 will return a string containing is fun. The second way you can get a substring is by passing two integer parameters, S and F. That will cause it to return a string that starts at position S and ends right before position F. In this example, we've passed in 6 for S and 15 for F. That will make it return a substring that starts at the capital S in position 6 and end right before the space that is in position 15. So it will return a string containing string space is.
It feels pretty weird that it doesn't give you the character in position F. This is one of those oddities that comes from thinking about things starting from 0. One way that helps me remember this strangeness is that if you subtract the first parameter from the second parameter, it will tell you how many characters you're going to get. So in this case, 15 minus 6 is 9. So the result has 9 characters.
There is one more weirdness when we're working with strings. The equals comparison doesn't behave the way you think it will. Remember, strings are not primitive types. They are objects.
They'd have to be objects, because we don't know how many characters a string is going to have, so the compiler won't know how much space to allocate.
Right. When we compare objects, there are two ways we could think about equality. We could think equality depends on whether the objects look alike. In this example, we might think that t and x are equal, because they are both pointing at objects containing the string 1, 2, 3. Sometimes that kind of equality is enough, but sometimes we want to be even more strict in our use of equals. Sometimes we want reference variables to be equal only if they point at exactly the same object. With that definition of equality, we'd want t and t2 to be equal, but t and x would not be considered equal. Depending on the situation, we might want either of those definitions of equal, so we have to be able to code them both. In Java, if you compare reference variables using equals equals, then we are comparing the pointers, so it will be only true if the variables point at exactly the same object. In this example, if we compare t and t2 with equals equals, it will be true, but if we evaluate t equals x, that will be false. Those are two different string objects, even though they contain the same information. If we want to compare the stuff inside the objects to see if the objects look alike, we use the equals method. In this example, t.equals t2 will be true, and t.equals x will also be true, because those two objects contain the same string. In this video, we learned some new things about strings. We learned about the char_at method that we can use to get a single character out of a string, and the substring methods that can return sections of a string. Strings in Java support a lot of other methods, and you can find them by looking at the Java API. We also learned about how equals comparisons differ for reference variables and the difference between equals equals and the dot equals method.